Hello everyone, Creative Fun here, back again with another video, and we are once again in the AJS37 Viggen, and as you can clearly see by the title, we are gonna check out the RB75 again. Now, I've done a couple of videos before, both in my series discussing if the Viggen is a modern strike fighter, and I've also done a couple of videos on the differences between the RB75 and the RB75B. So please check them out if you haven't seen them before. They're pretty good and quite informative. In this video we're going to talk about how to utilize the RB75 as effective as possible inside the Viggen. And of course we're going to be doing that by flying and firing the RB75. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about how you utilize the RB75 inside the Viggen, and the few of the tactics that I currently use to be as effective as possible using that missile. Of course, as most of you are already familiar with, the RB75 is of course the Swedish designation of the AJM37 Maverick. It's a TV guided fire and forget air-to-ground missile. And even before we start to do anything with the Viggen itself, we're actually going to have a look at a couple of key bindings that I just want to talk about really quickly in relation to the RB75. So the first few switches you need to have bound, of course, is T1 fix, T1 0 and TV fix. Now these three buttons I'm pretty sure you already have bound because they are used in various ways in the Viggen, especially for aligning waypoints and nav updates, but also for moving target waypoints on the radar screen and adjusting target waypoints. For the Maverick you use TV0 basically what TV0 does is to reset everything. T1 fix is to uncage the Maverick. TV fix is to lock the Maverick, it's basically a lock button for the Maverick, and then the T0 is the one that you use to reset everything when you switch to the next Maverick. So essentially this is actually one trigger in the Viggen, where T1 is the first indent, TV is the second indent, and T0 is actually the release state of that said trigger. So anyway, these three buttons, you need to be very comfortable using these and know exactly what they do to be as effective as possible with the Maverick. And of course the second thing to have bound properly is of course the trigger safety bracket. And I know some people usually prefer to have it bound as two separate keys. I prefer the safety bracket hold. The reason for this being how it works with the Maverick. But when after you fire the Maverick, to switch to the second or the next Maverick you're having equipped, you need to go trigger safe. So this way is just a faster way for you to quickly switch to the next Maverick in your weapons in your weapon rack. We're now going to arm our nice little Viggen here with some Mavericks, and even in the arm settings here, when you equip your very nice Viggen here with Mavericks, you have to start thinking a little bit of how you can be more efficient. Now I've done a video previously on the difference between the RB75B and the RB75. So we're going to put on some RB75s on the 75Bs on the outer pylons and some RB75s on the inner pylons, and I'm going to explain why I'm doing this. Now the reason to equip the RB75B on the outer pylons and the RB75 on the inner pylons is because the RB75B has a different seeker head that is more zoomed in than the RB75. What this means is that when you look through the sight here, you will see a more zoomed in view, which makes it easier to locate visually targets and lock them up at greater range. And the key strategy to be able to be as efficient as possible with the Maverick is to start firing it from its max range. Once we fire the outer Mavericks, we've already closed quite a lot on the target, which means that when we switch to the inner pylons, we're actually going to get a little bit of a zoomed out view, giving us still a good view of the target area without getting too close. Essentially, when you fire, if you only use RB75B and you try to launch all 4 missiles in one go, which is what I'm going to attempt here, the risk that after you fired the 2 or even 3 missiles, you will be so close that even a slight movement with Viggen is going to disorient you and give you trouble to locate the target and lock it up. Whereas if you try to use only RB75s, it will be very difficult for you to visually locate the targets when you're starting at max range, which means that you need to close in, thus giving you shorter time to fire all 4 Mavericks before you reach kind of like the minimum safe distance to turn away. Our goal here is to launch all 4 Mavericks between 18 and 10 kilometers from the target. Now my process here is that I am not going to uncage the Maverick and then move the seeker head. With the Maverick in the Viggen, you can uncage the seeker head and you can move it with the radar stick and then lock up target, very much like you would with an A-10 or an Harrier. However, that process means that every time you switch to the next Maverick, your seeker head is reset and you need to redo that process for each Maverick, and that can be both time consuming and a little bit difficult, since the seeker head not always moves the way you want it to move, and it's not stationary. Since you're flying and moving, the seeker head is also going to move, so you need to constantly adjust to find a good lock. What we're going to do is we're going to actually do like a bore sight lock-on. We're going to use the target sight and we're going to put that on the target, and that will essentially mean that we get the visual directly here on our EP sight. We're going to lean in using track IR, and we're going to see if we can lock up our targets very quickly. So we're basically going to fly from the EP sight here rather than looking out here and trying to discern our targets like that. So I'm going to start up, take off and approach my target, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, so we're heading towards target now here, and it's usually preferable to have set the proper QFE for your target, even if the Maverick doesn't require proper QFE, just so you get a decent, more accurate target information displayed on your HUD. We're going to pop up here in just a few seconds once we reach 30 kilometer mark, right around now. So we're going to go full off the burner and we're going to climb pretty hard around 4.5 G, up to 5 G. And we want to reach around 2,000 meters here. We want a pretty decent altitude. And you can reach 2,000 meters almost instantly with the Viggen on full afterburner. So we're going to level out. As we level out, we go off the afterburner. We align ourselves with the target. We switch to ANF mode, and as you can see, I've got a pretty accurate target indication there. Helps us quickly locate the targets. We move our crosshair around our target area point here, and then we check on the EP sight, and we can see 4 trucks here very clearly marked. So I'm going to uncage the Maverick and lock it up. Trigger on safe, fire, resetting, and as you can see, we can quickly back to the second target here. I want to grab that one there, trigger on safe and fire again. And as you can see, we're now zoomed out. We're going to see if we can lock up our other targets here. Firing again. And then I'm going to launch my final Maverick. Tricky. There we go. Then that's 4 Mavericks off. And now of course we can maneuver out, and you see I did just around the 10 kilometer mark. Of course, I want to see the carnage I made here. I hope I get 4, maybe at least 3 targets I should be able to get. The Mavericks are accurate, but are easily fooled by smoke and other inaccuracy in the ground. So we'll see here if I can get all 4 targets. Just moving in here. And the Viggen is of course actually faster than the Maverick, so we probably will arrive around here before the Mavericks. So we have visual on our 4 targets here. I'm going to slow down a bit, and we're going to see here how many targets we're able to kill. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Boom! So all 4 targets killed in a very short order, so I'll call it a success. So that is my idea of firing, or the most efficient way to fire the Maverick. As you saw on my approach here when I fired the second Maverick using the RB75B, while it gave me a more zoomed in view, made it easier for me to locate the targets, it's very easy to get disoriented. Whereas when it zoomed out, I was able to quickly realign the Viggen and get the 2 other Mavericks off fairly quickly. I prefer this method of using the Viggen to aim rather than using the radar stick and moving the seeker head, since it's actually much quicker. The only thing is that you need to practice quite a lot to be steady on the hand, no sudden movements. Essentially, you need to be very fine movements with the joystick or the flight stick to be able to maneuver the Viggen onto unlocking all targets. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was educational, and if you like this type of video, please don't forget to give a like and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. If for some reason this video triggered you or made you feel uncomfortable, the other button seemed to work as well. And once again, thank you so much for watching. This is Creative Fun checking out.